Alrighty, y'all. Welcome to Ellis Mowers. Well, I'm at that point in the season to where I actually have garage space again. If you've seen a bunch of videos that I've been posting recently, it seems like I have just been socked with lawnmowers. As you can see, Craftsman is my brand, apparently. Because I got everything in here is a Craftsman. Even the weed eater here is made by the same manufacturer. We'll get to that in just a second. That's what the video is going to be on. I don't know if I'm just, not getting things fixed quickly enough, but all the rest of them are sitting out here. You got two Craftsmans of Lowe's at Troy Bilt, 3, 4, basically 5 Craftsmans. A couple of these are gonna, turn into parts mowers. We're getting there. I'm doing the easy stuff, trying to get things in and get them out right now. Got this one in for free. This is not an MTD made Troy Bilt. It is a Troy Bilt made by Garden Way Incorporated in Troy, New York. I am not terribly familiar with Troy Bilt. Granted the fact that these are made in Troy, New York, and February of 1995, I would almost consider that this is a genuine Troy Bilt. If somebody wants to educate us on this, 34022 is your model number. And this model is a front drive self-propel with the 5 horsepower Quantum Briggs and Stratton engine on it. I got this for free from one of my grandparents' neighbors. They were no longer using it, knew that I did this, and so they said, "You think you'll want it? Hey, if it's free and I don't have to put any effort into getting it, I'll take anything. If I don't use it, I just toss it out." This one is more than usable from what I can tell. The one issue is it does not have the gears for the self-propel, and I am pretty sure I do not have any gears like that, because they're not the well, I'll have to look, but a lot of them have like the little 3 teeth in them. These are actually spline gears, so we'll see. So the self-propel is non-functional at this point. This is the I guess it's an aluminum deck on it, because you can see kind of from where the paint came off right there. I've thought about what I was gonna do with this. I'm sure that the parts to find this mower are probably not going to be easy for the self-propel, and knowing I've had one exactly like this probably 2017. I know I did a couple of videos on it way back at the beginning of the channel. I had the hardest time selling that lawnmower, and it was self-propel. Everything worked on it, just the deck had a hole in it about like that, and I couldn't get $100 for the thing. I mean, this thing's built better than any Troy Bilt that you're ever going to find at the store. It's just, it's old. People don't want old stuff. So let's get into what it is doing. Apart from the self-propel, it will run on starter fluid. And the air filter needs to be replaced. And I don't know if you can see, but it seems like the orientation of the carburetor and all that housing and whatnot is a little bit off. We'll look into that here in just a second. I don't know if my little mounting plate is cracked, and I can maybe put a washer and bend it back. But you can see the condition of the oil filter, or the air filter, excuse me. It is pretty much gummed up, and it's good to go right there in the trash. So I got plenty of air filters, and things are less than $2 a piece. So let me show you all that it does run on starter fluid, and then we're going to hope that carburetor is not completely clogged. Hopefully it's just got a little crud in it, and we just have to clean out the main jet. couple of other things to note on this. It does have gas in it. Pull rope obviously will need to be replaced on it. This is one of them cheap rubbery band type pull ropes. Probably has been replaced. I'm sure it's not the original. Oh, and it's got a throttle cable on it, so adjust the speed of the mower. Gas is good. Tank doesn't look to be leaking. Oil, got oil in it. I'll double check it before I run it. Actually, the oil's not too bad in it. We will change it, but because I know it hasn't been running in a while. I haven't checked the blade either. Oh, they even took the belt off the self-propel down there. So, yeah, there's no really looking to find this. This is one of them two-step blades. Top part's pretty sharp. We just need to sharpen the bottom part down there, and we'll be in good shape. Obviously, we'll clean this deck out while we're at it. The first order of business, though, is to get this running. And so if it's light enough, I'm going to get it on my little stand up here. We will break down the carburetor, and we will see how everything looks. All right, I'm going to put y'all right here. We'll take off all this assembly together. As you can see, it's kind of, I'm showed it's kind of bowed out almost. A 5/16 will get you pretty far. Just a little nut driver. And if a nut driver doesn't do it, a ratchet and socket will. 5/16, 5/16. And these don't, whenever you put them back in, they don't need a lot of tension on them. Or a lot of, you don't need to crank them down because you'll strip them easily with the threads. I've done that many, many times. Just taking the 3 air filter nuts off now, or bolts, excuse me. So what I usually do is I'll take, whenever there's a throttle cable like this, I'll actually take the whole physical air filter cover off as opposed to taking that bolt off right there, because taking that out in the end a lot of times will strip it and then your cable moves. So I don't really like to mess with that if I don't have to. So now I'm pulling the throttle off there, and we'll just let that hang out over there. I mean, the fuel line and everything looks good on it. It kind of just looks like the carburetor has slid off the tube a little bit. So .3/8 ratchet socket. Okay. I see the issue. We'll just leave it like that. Alright, here's the issue. This plate is actually, I guess from the weight of the stuff that's been on the carburetor over the course of time, has actually bent down on the tube. You see that? So, let me see, let me get a pair of pliers. Smaller pliers. Let's try these. See if I can bend it back if I have enough room without having to take the cover off of it. Not really. Darn. I wonder if I could hammer it back into place. I'm not quite sure. Let me figure out my plan of attack. I'll let you know what I decide to do. Because I don't want all that weight hanging down like it has been. On that plate, and I don't really know how to reinforce it. I mean, over the course of, I guess, 25 years, it's just kind of bent itself down. Oh, I know what I could do. Gotcha. All right, here's what I'm going to do. There's a 3/8 right here. There's a 3/8 right here. Those two bolts will take this off. And I'm also going to take the grounding wire here, which is a 7 or a 3/8, and we'll go from there. So let me do that, and we'll bend the plate back. All right, let me take y'all along for the ride here too, because this is probably more important. So there's a choke spring that goes on the choke. Let's see if we pull it up right here. It detaches right there. That's the spring. And then here's your throttle spring. I'm about to take the throttle spring off so that I can take the throttle arm off of the carburetor, pull it away. We will eventually pinch off the gas line and see how the bowl nut is doing down there and the jet. So that's what I'm going to do next, is take this spring off. Make sure you don't lose this choke spring. Just kind of let it hang out right there. Because yeah, this whole mechanism needs to be bent back, and I need to bend it back right there and not right here, because it'll bend back, but it's not bending right here in this area. So let me get the 3/8, pull the springs off. I did bend that spring linkage just slightly, just to get it off a little bit easier. Alright, so now it's on 11:30 seconds. Which means it's probably a metric. We're just pulling this off so that we can get this plate off. Here's what I'll do. I'll put the nut back on, that way I don't lose any of them pieces. Alright, 2 3/8 inch. That bolt was a little rusty. Or it had Loctite, one of the two. I don't know. I don't know what y'all think. I'm kind of dumb. I actually didn't have to do this right here. The plug-in to where the ground is, you know, that runs through this hole right here, actually plugs in the back. I just didn't see it. So let me see if I can pull it off. It should be easy trying to pull it off. There we go. Try not to break the connector always. You can always try and get the connector back right though. Huh, y'all, I wonder, because it's bent down like that, I wonder if I could just put a washer in on the end here or something. Thinking out loud, because y'all can see it bends it back down there. I don't think we can put a washer that's big enough that'll keep it from doing that. So here's what we're gonna do. We'll take it off. I'll finish taking this off and I'll meet y'all over at the vise here in just a second. There we go. And we'll get that wire to go through the hole there. There we go. Alright, so we are off. Have to get rid of this ground wire as well that I missed. So that is another 5/16. Whew. I think. There we go. I'll get that off. I'll get that off and I'll meet y'all over at the bench and we'll bend this thing back. I don't know how well y'all can see that, but you can see this bolt right here on the side where the bolt goes through for the mounting, the one on the bottom. It looks like it is bent in some, which doesn't surprise me. This thing's had a lot of weight on it with all those, you know, all that stuff that you put on air filter housings and whatnot. So I'm going to pop this thing in the vise, grip it. I'll bend it back with some pliers, and we'll continue from there. Alrighty, y'all, we've got this plate mocked back up. It's not perfect, but the goal was to make it so that the carburetor's not facing downward. So we're going to bolt it all back up and see how much better it is. I bent the mounting points out a little bit, bent the mounting plate up a little bit. So again, we're not looking for perfection, and we also don't want to look like we're sagging like that. So let me button it all back up, put all the grounding stuff back on, and we'll see what we got. So I got the carburetor back on, put the plate back on. Where's the second bolt? Right there. Ground wire, ground wire, ground wire. I do have to bend that out a little bit. Again, it's just a grounding point. Choke spring. Having a little bit of interference with the got a little bit of interference with the shroud just from the way that I fixed it and moved it. That's an easy fix. I'll just get some needle nose pliers and bend that back a little bit. It's kind of like playing Tetris. You just, well, maybe it's not. I don't know. You try and get everything fit right, or fit good enough to where it works. It ain't got to be perfect. Let's try these pliers and see if we can get this bent back. Now I need to get some needle noses or some sort of pliers. Maybe these will work. Anyways, I don't know if you can see the orientation of the carburetor now. It's actually pointed more upwards than downwards, which is good because it's not going to be stressing out the there we go. And just fix that. So it's not going to be stressing out that intake tube, which over time would wear a hole in it. I don't know how well I showed y'all, but that intake tube had a little bit of wear on the top from where this whole carb assembly had been kind of wearing down on it over time. So now I'm going to pull a 1/2 inch. Yeah, I'm going to pull the bowl nut down there. It's a 1/2 inch. Try and be easy because I don't want to mess up the gaskets. And we'll see what we got inside the bowl. So I took the bowl nut off. I'm going to be cautious about actually taking the bowl off just because I don't know, like all the gaskets and whatnot on it. They're sealing pretty good, and I see that the jet is clogged, or it was clogged. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to get some wire, which I always keep in this little box here. And I'll put y'all right here. We're going to look. We're going to look through. I don't know if y'all can see any light. You see it's partially clogged right there. Can't really see any. Well, you can see a little bit of light through it. But there's some debris right there. It doesn't look terrible though. But there was some sort of blockage. I think there's more dirt in there. Let's do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to blow it out with some compressed air too. And that should help us. So let me blow it out with some compressed air. I'm just going to pop it back on the carburetor. I might blow a little compressed air up into the carburetor to see if I can possibly loosen any of those. Any potential crud that could be caught up in the jet, which I don't think it should be any in there. And there was fuel that came out, so we know the needle in the seat is working because there's not a ton of gas and oil. There was gas in the tank, and it wasn't flooding the carb. Neither was the tank dry. So I can kind of show you that the needle in the seat work. You can see the gas coming out down there on the bottom if I show you all the camera there. So I'm going to air this, pop it back on to see if we have anything. Alright, so I cleaned the main jet out, confirmed with carb cleaner that it's spraying up through there, and also sprayed a little carb cleaner up the carb. Hopefully get rid of any blockers that's potentially there. I'm going to have to adjust the choke arm a little bit since I did. Oh, I don't have the throttle on, silly. But the choke, so the choke would enact if necessary. I haven't put the throttle cable back on. We're just going to try it. I sprayed a little carb cleaner in the carb, so maybe I can get it just to start in the way and run the way that it is, or maybe I'll have to hold the choke open. We'll see. Hey, that did the trick. It ain't been running a while. It's smoking pretty good. It's got good oil in it. I'm going to pop a little sea foam in it. There
is.
Again, we're just making sure that it runs. It runs. First off, it does. Hopefully that'll help it clear up some things. And the smoke's cleared up too, so that's good. We're just gonna let it run for a little bit. As y'all saw, it started on the first pull with a little bit of carb clean. And yeah. So you run some of that gas in it. And then we'll continue and service the mower. You can still see it surging a little bit. Alright, we'll catch back up, let it run for a little bit. So I've got this on the bench again, cranked it up. This is the next day. Cranked it up, started on the second pull with choke, so it's good. One thing I'm not going to do is put this little cover back on it, because this has got some weight to it, and I think that was helping like bend down that mechanism. And so what I'm going to do now is, y'all have seen me do this quite a bit, but I'm going to do 3/8 to get the engine cover off, and the 5/16 to get the gas tank off, and your 3/8 on the bottom here you got to get off. Take the cover off. We're going to put a pull rope in it. Alright, new pull rope is on. I'm sure y'all have seen many ways to do that. All you got to do is wind it up, pull the old one out, keep the tension on it, wind it back about 4 times, pop the new rope on. I've done that many a times here on the channel. Get this pull rope off. I'll tell you one thing, this was a difficult one to get off, because this nylon portion kept binding up and whatnot, and I had the hardest time getting it off. So next order of business, looks like I've got a stripped screw there, so that might be exciting to try and get off. I'm going to take these 2 screws off, which I hope will give me access under the mower so that I can access the gears and take all that off and turn this into just a regular old push mower. So we'll see what we got. Alright, so as you can see, the belt is gone. Those 2 screws just pulled the cover off exactly what it needed to. There's a nifty little adjustment too. I'll take that off as well. Looks like a pulley. Let's see. It looks like I can slide it out the side here. Yeah, it looks like I could slide the whole mechanism out the side here and get it off. So let me take the wheel off here. It's a 9/16. I gotta clean up my garage a little bit. I always say that, but 9/16 right there. Let's see what we can do here. 9/16. Take the wheel off. Now let me figure out a plan of attack, and I'll get y'all set down, and we'll try and attack it. How does that sound? We'll do that. So I've taken both wheels off, and here's this Allen key there. You need an Allen key or Allen wrench to get that off. And we're gonna attack it from that perspective. And hopefully we can just slide the shaft off. I'm gonna see if I can pull. Cable out. There we go. I'll take that off. I'll see if I can save the cable. You never know when you might need it, although I don't think I'll ever get one of these in again. Never say never though, I guess. So I'm gonna take the throttle off here. It's the 5/16, or the self-propel cable, excuse me, I'm thinking of the wrong place. Five 16ths. Just throw it in there for now. Just a little clip, a little E clip or R clip. Gets that speed selector off. We'll attack the bottom part of it from under the deck. Cable. Actually, oh, that's the speed cable, that's right. Alright, so next I'm going to find a nut that'll work for that. Seven eighths. So 7/8. We'll pop on our 1/2 inch. Impact. There we go. Need some sort of wrench down there. I'll get that in just a second. Take this screw out. All right, need a small adjustable or a 1/4 inch wrench. 1/4 inch wrench will do it. Loosen that up if we can. If we break it, it's not going to hurt anything. Because what this is going to do is it's going to allow the shaft to slide on the friction wheel here. I like this self-propel mechanism. It's pretty stout. That should allow it to slide good enough, hopefully. All you gotta do is get enough clearance to get it through. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take off this one and see if I can slide it this way. All we need to do is slide the shaft out. We'll be good. See if I can slide. Okay. So now I've got the issue with the wheel. Alright, there we go. Alright, so I got it off. However, the wheel mechanisms are kind of fed by that rod. And so, what I think I might try and do, let's see. Yeah, what I might try and do now is take this wheel and this self-propel thing off, which will reduce some of the weight. That's all I'm trying to do is weight reduction here. And then I'll put this back on with the Allen things on the end. That way that there's stability with this, because this is part of the actual front axle. And take it off that way. So I'll go ahead and do that off camera, and we'll get it back on, and I'll show you the end result of it. Alright, so I just finished, this is the final look around. I just finished putting that shaft back in and just putting that Allen back on that y'all saw to hold it on there. And so the front axle, although it does move a little bit, it's just fine. It holds these mechanisms on just fine as well. And again, at the price point that is, that's perfectly fine for this push mower. If I'd have fixed the self-propel on it, it'd probably been $100 to $120 push mower. But again, the time it would have taken me to find the gears, buy the gears, find the belt, buy a belt, and all that stuff would have taken too long. And then also we got some wear on the wheels here, so who knows if the wheels would have caught. So I just did the quick and easy thing with this one. Listed for $60. Let it roll. Maybe you get a trade, maybe not. But again, I have no money into it apart from a pull rope and an oil change. So, and probably about 2 hours of work, if that. So, you know, just trying to, at this point of the year, I'm just trying to get them cranked out. So let me start it, and we'll do a final run of this thing. Just a little temperamental from where it had been washed. So as you can see, it's not really surging anymore either. So it doesn't want to idle down, but that's the only thing. I hope that if you're cutting your grass, you're gonna run it. I don't know where that washer came from, but you're gonna run it at full throttle anyways. So see if I can crank it back up. One more. That'll go away when the water dries from where I washed it, so I'm not worried about that. Let it run for a little bit, list it for 60 bucks. It'll probably go within a day or two, and we'll move on to the next project. If you like the content that you see, push mower, ride mower, what I'm up to in terms of the mower world, just give me a subscription. Always love those. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers 09. Until the next mower project, I'll see you next time.